The General Industries Workers Union of South Africa has bemoaned the unemployment figures released earlier this week. The number of unemployed persons went up in the second quarter, with the official rate of unemployment sitting at 33.5%. GIWUSA is condemning the continuous job losses in it, and it calls an environment of booming mega projects. It says the labour force has been on a slow decline for years now, especially since the COVID-19 lockdown in April 2020. It is also calling for labour movements to come together and use worker power to resist the government of neoliberal unity, whose economic policies, it says, the majority of South Africans have come to lament. For more on this, we're now joined by GIWUSA President Mametlwe Sibei, and he joins us now via our video link. Mametlwe, thank you so much for your time this evening here in SABC News. I mean, let's start off here. How worried are you about the latest unemployment figures?
We can all say the loss of 92,000 jobs in one quarter is a disastrous development in a context of mass unemployment that has today reached 8.4 million, excluding 3.2 million discouraged job seekers. Now, think about it. There are 3.2 million people in this country who not only are not employed, but have given up on the prospects of ever finding employment. And of course, of the 8.4 million people that are looking for jobs, many of them are long-term, chronically unemployed people who have not been finding jobs for years without an end. And I think that should worry all of us, because these are not just figures and statistics. This is a whole generation of working class people whose life is being wasted, who are living and languishing in abject poverty, and who have been denied opportunity to make meaningful contribution to society, and hence many of them are actually escaping this reality, this quiet reality of unemployment, into self-destruction, but also antisocial activity. And this is the reason that we have such extreme level of violence, into the gender-based violence, into the drug abuse, and every sort of development that shows an implosion of society that or whose economy can no longer provide a meaningful outlet for a useful employment and productive engagement of the vast layers of its workforce.
And I mean, we also speak about the issues around COVID-19 and how, the economy really took a major knock because of, the various lockdowns in which we saw. When it comes to the interventions that can be made, working with the private sector and government, what do you think, those interventions can be to try and resuscitate this country's economy and to allow it for the creation of jobs?
The starting point has got to be, how did we get to be where we are? We got to be where we are because of a relentless neoliberal policies that privatized state-owned enterprises, which in the past used to employ tens and hundreds of thousands of working class people in services that made sure that our people have access to electricity, our people have access to water, there are houses that are being built. I mean, think about it. Many people today don't realize the townships that we have, Soweto's, Mamelodi's, Khayelitsha, Langa, all of these townships were actually built by people that were employed by a public works program and programs of the state in the past. All of that capacity has been outsourced, and in the process of which we have seen both the public sector as well as state-owned enterprises that are responsible for these public services being destroyed, and through a rampant corruption, mismanagement, underfunding, with a view of privatizing them, which has been happening. And these very same policies, which have landed us where we are with a mass unemployment, mass poverty, and a collapsing public services and a public infrastructure, are the policies that the government of national unity, which we have characterized as government of neoliberal unity, not only do they want to continue, but they want to intensify, carrying out privatization now in the management of the ports, of the railways, of the water provisions, and many other remaining public services. What we do need is to actually renationalize certain sectors that were privatized before, and we would argue that we have got to understand the key sectors of the economy. We make absolutely no apology as a workers' movement that there is no solution to this crisis on the basis of capitalism and its current neoliberal policies. That what we do need is government to actually nationalize the key sectors of the economy, the minerals of this country, and the land, and ensure that we beneficiate the minerals of this country to reindustrialize the economy and to use the wealth also to fund a mass public works program that can ensure that we build all the houses, we build all the roads that we need, we fix our water infrastructure, our energy provision, we fix our schools, our clinics, our hospitals. I mean, it's scandalous that we lost jobs in the construction industry when there's so much work to be done in those sectors.
And coming back to the unemployment figures, Mametlwe, and looking at especially the second quarter where we experienced a number of job losses this year. And one would also say, I mean, that's the time when, elections took place in this country. What role did elections, if any, play during this time when we saw, this major decline in job losses in our country?
I mean, the fact that approximately, 27 million people who are eligible to vote did not vote in this country should tell you that the masses of the working class have lost faith in the electoral system, have no confidence that not only the government, but any of the opposition parties on the parliamentary plane have solutions to their problems. And we must be absolutely clear when it comes to that. This is a government of minority, right? The ANC people are bemoaning the fact that its collapse means they are having 41% of the electorate. In actual fact, the ANC has only 13% of the eligible voters. The DA also has no mandate. It has been rejected over 30 years by the overwhelming majority of the black working class, and it remains a part of white privilege, a part of white monopoly capital. And what we must be able to say is that it's only on the basis of organization, of the unity and the struggle of the working class that we should be able to resist attacks. That is more privatization, more attacks on the conditions of the workers, because one of the things that we've seen is not only the massive job losses that have aggravated the poverty of the black working class. It's the fact that even the permanent, decent paying jobs are being replaced by a precarious, poor paying jobs that are further aggravating that crisis of the poverty of the black working class, which crisis, by the way, is linked with the deindustrialization of the economy. Because how many workers can afford to buy, for instance, a washing machine, can afford to buy a dry machine, and many other household equipment that should be the basis for reindustrialization of the economy in this country.
All right. Mametlwe, thank you so much for your time and for the reaction there on the employment figures. Of course, those employment figures coming out earlier on in the week, and currently the official rate of unemployment is at 33.5%. Mametlwe Sibei, the president of GIWUSA, continuing there to give us his reaction.